Today I'm looking at brain banks on slopper.ai. And these are really, really interesting. So I could go through the whole Slopper site, but I want to just really focus on brain banks. Essentially, what these are, LLMs as a service. Somebody can offer a model they're running locally on their own hardware. Let's say a model they've taken from Hugging Face or whatever model they want. They could customize it, they could fine tune it, they could use distillation. Basically, any model that they can use there, they can present as an option to either make it as a free resource for people or as a paid LLM as a service. And that's what a brain bank is. But when you click in, and we'll use the free one here, which, by the way, I've been using this over the past couple of weeks, and I find myself enjoying using this more than ChatGPT. So for anybody that wants to just click into an LLM chat, then it's really, really good. But it's more than just a chat. And I think that's where we should really start. What you have here is this 4-tab UI. You have this browser. Everything is running in the browser. This is also very important to know, which is sandboxed and secure, and you're not needing to go open your terminal on your device and start doing things there. It's all within this single browser-based environment that will work on your desktop or it'll work on your mobile. That's key to begin with. We're in a chat. We could type anything. Or there are commands, and some of these are really cool. There's one called GSD. By the way, there are many of these. Like, you could scroll down and have a little look at all the ways to structure something get the agent behind this to do something specific for you. But GSD, get shit done, literally the name, is a good place to start. For example, if you have GSD autonomous, it will full project autopilot, creates the roadmap, runs all the phases end to end, what to build, really structures. It doesn't just kind of go. It thinks about it. And that's pretty cool. Another one that I've been using a lot recently, and this is free, play around with it, but the research, deep autonomous research thing, I've been using this a lot, and it really has been really powerful. But anyway, that's slash commands. They're there if you need them. You can just chat as normal. But I love this 4-tab UI, let's call it. Because if I wanted to create a file, it creates a file and it's here. If I wanted to create code in, let's just say Python or JavaScript, it will create it and put the folders here. If you create it in JavaScript, for example, then of course you can preview it. So if it's building an app or building a site or building whatever, as it's building, you can come and preview it in here, like with VS Code and things like that. And then as a non-developer, I also just love the ability that I can just casually tap into Terminal and see what it's doing. I want to demonstrate this, and I think a really good way to demonstrate that is with this research function. So if I just said, hey, I want you to research the latest and most powerful local AI models, let's say, that run well on a Mac Mini 16 gigabyte model. It's going to start doing that. And again, of course, it's going to start searching. It's going to do this in phases, but it's going to really do some pretty good research. Now it's going to the web. And again, terminal here, what you're seeing is, look, this is clicking up as you're seeing its actions. The number moves up. And this just, to me, as a non-developer, has been just very interesting to come and watch what it's doing, because most people don't ever have access to that. If you're using ChatGPT or using standard Claude, you're not doing that. You have to be someone that goes and sets up, let's say, an OpenClaw instance. And for most people still today, despite what many of the kind of influencers on X would tell you, that's not common. Most people are still using vanilla, run-of-the-mill, consumer grade. All the complexity is hidden. All of what's happened is hidden. They're using those things. Again, 22 things. I find this interesting. I'm seeing what it's doing. It's using this thing called Gina Reader to go and scrape the internet and find things. And what it's going to do is it's going to build all of this out, right? It's going to keep telling you back here. Right now, it's still in scrape mode. It's finding data as per the research that I instructed it to do. But when it's finished, and I'll skip forward to that now, but when it's finished, I'm going to just ask it to create a file, a document, a presentation, like whatever document I want it to present, like a basic like Word style document or PDF or something. I'm just going to tell it to do that, and then it's going to create that. So now it's reporting back with what it's found. Obviously, it's showing me all the sources that it scraped with direct links to it. I really like that. And it's presenting this as a report. I could have, of course, this is an LLM at the end of the day. I could have just said, what is the best blah, 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 right? I could have asked the question about what is the best model to run on a Mac Mini 16 gig. And many people still will do that. But I love the fact that in a few minutes, it's basically come back and provided all of this information. What else I really like is the fact that I can say, oh, great, now please convert this report into a PDF file. And so, yep, it begins writing that file. And again, you can see here, this is what I love immediately. You're seeing the file, right? You're seeing as it's writing it happening here. I can come and check that in file. It's, of course, doing what I asked it to do. Just selects the correct tool, obviously. And when that's finished, I'm actually going to show you something even cooler about Slopper. We've come in, we've chatted, we've then asked it to do some research. Then we've asked it to turn that research into a specific document. And then we're going to actually publish that as a piece of content on Slopper, all from within here. We actually have the publish option up here, and we'll come to that. And these are called brain dumps. When you take something from the brain bank and create it into a downloadable, distributable document, asset, file, whatever, game, app, whatever it is that you create, you can turn that into a brain dump and put that on Slopper for other people. That could be free or that could be paid. This is a content platform at the end of the day. Any level of AI content you can create from within here or externally. But if you create it in here, you can also then publish it directly from within here. You can too also publish anything that you created externally. You don't have to produce it within a brain bank to put it into the Slopper platform as a piece of content, but it's the fact that you can do it all in this really smooth, slick, simple, but still technical, if you want to peek behind the curtain format with this 4-tab UX that I keep referring to. That's just what I love about it. It's first telling me that it's created it in a HTML report that can be converted to PDF, either open it in a browser and then save it as PDF or use a command line tool, but I would say just opening it in the browser and saving it as a PDF would be the easiest way. But again, look, we now have preview lit up, but I'm not going to go to that. We have file. So we now have this in the HTML version that we could just literally open up in a browser and then save as the PDF. But if we look here, we now have this research report that is just written and then turned into a readable, common format, such as the PDF, for example. And just, I love the way how it's formatting this. It is really easy to understand. It's laid out very well. It's citing all of the sources. Real research paper. This is what I really, really, really like about using brain banks, is the fact that I can do this, but then I can see what's happening under the hood if I want. And I actually am learning about what is happening here, right? The terminal, for those of you that have ever used it or opened it on, say, your Mac, it's this kind of like almost, well, it is a scary place to be. What is this thing? Do I have to go right at the command line code like a developer? And of course, most people won't do that and don't want to do that. And of course, with AI now, we'll never have to do that. But it is good to understand what is happening. The preview part, I absolutely love. And as I mentioned, we've created this. Let's imagine that I went on, did some more things, created a whole set of reports, or even if I didn't. But bottom line is, whatever the files are I've created in this chat, I can create and publish this to Slopper, right? I can export the entire set of files, and of course here it's saying, look, 3 files. I can export that as a brain dump, right? Check all your files, make sure they've got everything that you want, right? Of course, it's just double checking, and of course you would, but let's just say I've checked, and so I proceed. It's going to export this, right? And so this could just be Mac Mini 16 gig best models report. In fact, I'm going to say report Mac Mini 16 gig best models today. I won't capitalize that. Today. File's already there. A comprehensive, I can just describe it, a comprehensive research report into the best AI models to run on a Mac Mini. You could put a preview image on there. I'm not going to do that. You could describe how it was made. I could go and actually explain, here's what I did. I did it in da-da-da-da-da. I asked it to create a research report. I could literally give the viewer of this piece of content on Slopper all of the information. I'm not going to do that right now, but some people might want to do that. I could sell this content if I don't know. And of course, I could even set up an agent to do these things and automatically create reports on such topics every single day. And you could charge $1, for example, or you could create a subscription for your profile on Slopper and make all of the content that you or an agent that you've allowed to post or publish on your behalf. You can do that. The monetization option here is really clean, really simple. Anybody can do this, but we're not going to sell that. We're just going to say it's free. We're going to make it public. Again, here, look, we could put subscribers only. You'd, of course, need to create a subscription level. You could have multiple, for example, but we're going to say it's public. We're going to say publish. And look, right here on the latest feed of Slopper, anybody can now come in and see the report, Mac Mini 16 gig best models today. And it literally will allow them to come in and see what it is. The description is here. You can download the workspace and boom, right? But then what I could do, if I was just, say, someone that randomly found this, you come up to the top right-hand corner. We know we want to import a brain dump, right? But I can now come and look at the brain dumps that have been created. I can now go to as the user, to the brain bank that I'm using, whichever one I'm using, whether it's free or paid, and I can import that knowledge into my brain bank. All of a sudden, boom, it's brought all of that in here. Now, if I wanted to start asking questions about this, I could start asking questions about information from this research report. And I've used a research report, but this could be absolutely anything, any type of media, any type of file. It could be a game, for example, that someone had created and you want to come and play that in here. The opportunities are endless. I can't even think off the top of my head of all the things that you could do with this, but the research one was something that I found interesting, especially given that I could automate this and set up an agent to come and do this thing for me every day. So every day or every week it goes and does certain reports for me, publishes them to Slopper, and free or paid, behind a subscription or not, but for other people to find. And there is no real complexity here for the creator or the user. There's more complexity for the creator, of course, because you're coming in here and doing these things. But I'm not even super technical in respect of, I don't have massive amounts of daily workflows that are happening with AI, but what I am doing by using Slopper rather than something like a ChatGPT is I'm exposing myself and I'm learning, exposing myself to how these things work, what you can do, and that is good knowledge to have. Hopefully that was valuable. This is me just showing a brain bank flow, some of the features, as I say, the 4-tab UX, the /command capabilities. We used research, we turned it into a document, we published that as content to their platform. And again, if we come back to the latest, that's where we found it. And then we imported that directly into the brain bank to use. So that's it.